Join us today as we look into unlocking the hidden vault of World War II secrets. Join us on a thrilling journey as we unveil 10 untold stories that helped change the course of the war for the Allies. From bat bombs to phantom armies, discover the tales that shaped the war that you never knew existed. Let's get into it. At number 10, we have the outrageous idea of the bat bomb. This was an idea brought forth by Dr. Lytle Adams, who was a dentist turned inventor during World War II. His idea was to release a group of bats over Japanese cities and have them trigger a device attached to them that would cause wildfire throughout. This was a plan that never ended up happening, but this was a great idea of all the innovations that were taking place during World War II in order to try and get a gain on the Axis powers, in this case, Japan. The hope was by triggering these devices, it would cause a cataclysm that had never been seen before. At number 9, we are looking at the Ghost Army. This was a perfect idea that was brought up by many artists, designers, and sound engineers that made inflatable tanks, inflatable people, and were able to fake transmissions and sound effects. This made the Ghost Army of World War II a troop whose secret weapon was deception. They were there just to deceive. They didn't carry guns, they didn't do anything like that, as they were not real. Their mission was to protect the real heroes by pretending to be a giant make believe army, but instead they were fake, and this was done perfectly. At number 8, we are looking at a pigeon parachutist known as G.I. Joe, who is a heroic homing pigeon in World War II. He flew in order to deliver a life saving message just in the nick of time before a British village was about to be bombed. G.I. Joe was able to fly 20 miles in 20 minutes in order to deliver the note, which kept a whole bunch of people in Britain from dying. A pigeon in a parachute sounded like a tall tale, but instead, this was released in the 70s by British intelligence, which shown that G.I. Joe was a real life bird hero who took to the skies in order to deliver hope for the British and saved thousands of lives. At number 7, we are looking at a break in the weather which caused the Normandy invasion to happen. Just before the Normandy invasion, James Stagg, who was a meteorologist, made a completely epic prediction. Against raging storms, he saw a small window of where the Allies would be able to attack. Many did not think that this was possible, but instead, he was correct, and this led to the D Day invasion of thousands of Allied troops to storm the beaches and change the course of the war. And where a conflict with every minute mattered, his forecast was so exact that it was able to predict and help win the invasion of Normandy, which turned the tides for the Allies and helped them win the war overall. At number 6, we are looking at Operation Vegetarian. This was an idea that the British had in order to get the Germans to surrender and defeat because they would be left hungry. Their idea was very simplistic yet very, very thought out. It was to lace these cakes that the cows would eat with anthrax. They would drop them over all the German pastures and have the cows eat them, therefore getting them infected with anthrax. This would end up killing the cows and therefore starve the Germans into defeat. Thankfully, this idea never came to fruition, and all those cows were able to live. At number 5, we are looking at submarine aircraft carriers that were brought forth by the Japanese. This was an idea that no one ever thought would end up happening, but this was something that Japan rolled out. The submarine aircraft carrier. Picture this, submarines that could launch planes. This was something that they were able to do. These underwater giants hid seaplanes in their bellies, ready to take flight. With a secret weapon like this, Japan had turned the tides of the ocean warfare. These submersible carriers showcased the daring innovation that defined the high seas of World War II. Thankfully, not many of these were made, which did not end up hurting the Allies as much as what it could. Japanese were ahead of their time during this era, and this was something that could have really affected the Allies had they built more of them. At number 4, we are looking at some of the most unsung heroes of World War II, the African American women nurses. During a time for segregation and struggle, these women decided to answer the call to serve. They faced multiple accounts of discrimination. They ended up getting wounded and not just healing bodies, but breaking barriers too. This was the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion, made up almost all of African American women, who ended up ensuring that soldiers received vital mail. The mail, in fact, and sometimes would end up completely changing the outcome of the war, as they delivered some of the most influential packages that needed to be sent off in order to call for different attacks on different places. At number three, we are looking at the invasion of Alaska. Many people only know of the bombing of Pearl Harbor as the only time that the United States was attacked on their own land. However, this was not the case. In World War II, there was a surprising battleground in 1942, the Aleutian Islands, which is an Alaskan chain that saw an invasion by Japanese forces in 1942. It was the only battle fought on North American soil during the war. So this was the only battle. Though it was not a huge fight, this clash did emphasize the global reach of World War II. This was a lesser known chapter whose brave soldiers fought off in a forgotten corner of the world, highlighting that in the time for the fight for freedom, every corner mattered. It did not matter where you were. We the Japanese were trying to take over everyone, including that of Alaska. At number two, we are looking at the Navajo Code Talkers. This was a group of Native American men who used their native language to make an unbreakable code for the Allies in the United States. In the heat of battle, the Navajo used their words, which became a shield that protected vital communication from enemy ears. These brave individuals played a pivotal role in the Pacific Theater. Their language served as an indecipherable weapon that could help with crucial victories. In a war where every message counted, Navajo code talkers made their legacy on their unbreakable codes to help the Allies to victory. And at number one, we're looking into Operation Mincemeat. For those of you who don't know, Operation Mincemeat was a tactic that the British government used in order to scam the German soldiers. What they did is they took a deceased body and they dressed him up as a Royal Marine officer and gave him fake papers stating that the attack for D Day was going to be between Greece and Sardinia. Obviously, this was not the case. This was meant to be a ruse. This was meant to throw off the German government, and that is exactly what happened. Germany and Italy increased their defenses along Greece, Sardinia, and Italy in order to block an attack. This led to the United States being able to attack at Normandy, which led to a huge victory for the Allies. All of this was due to this tale of Operation Mincemeat. This was such a great tactic, and it ended up working. Thank you guys all for watching. Please remember to subscribe.